Hello everyone, welcome back to the Lua Plus channel. In this episode we are going to be going over data types. So data types are basically what the value is. So it's like a number or a string or a vector. um, like I said in the previous episode, if you're setting certain part properties, you have to set them to things like enum.material or brickcolor.new or color3.new, and those are all the data types. So we'll go basics. The basic data types are an integer, which are numbers, so 10, 200, 500, etc. After integer, there's floats, which are like 5.1, 5.2, like decimal numbers. After that, there's strings, which are defined inside of quotations, and it's text, or it can be text and numbers, and it can be anything inside those two quotes. That's a string. After strings are booleans, which are true or false. Then there's nil, which is basically nothing. Then there's a table, which is this, like this. And then there's also dictionaries, which are these, basically tables, but instead of indexing them with a number, you index them with a string. So I'll define this as a table one variable, and if I want to get that, I'd do print table1.high, and if I run this code and we open up the output window, it prints 5. That's called a lot of people call them dictionaries. I call them dictionaries. There's a few other words for what people call them, but that's the very basics of them. You can also do this a different way by going high equals 5. You'll see them used this way a lot, but I prefer to do it without these. I prefer to just do like that. But you can do it any way that makes you feel comfortable. After tables, there's enums. Enums are a lot of things. There's enums for like user input type, so like mouse buttons. Enums for key codes, so like normal buttons. There's enums for color. There's enums for material. So you can set the material of a part, and there's an enums for a few other things. You will use enums a lot, and you'll get to know them more as you use them. Like if you're doing something where you have to recognize user input, you do on the client if the input equals enum.keycode.a, for example. But I'll be going over user input in the intermediate tutorials probably, where I go over game services. After enums, there's vectors. So there's vector 2, and there's vector 3. To make a new vector 2, you have to add on the .new, and then it's the x and the y value. For the vector 3, add on a .new, x, y, but also a z value. There's color 3. There's brick color. There's we can have a look because there's a lot of them. There's number range and number sequence. There's a lot of these. You will, again, just like enums, the more you use them, the more you'll remember the names of them, and the how to create new ones. The only ones you really need to know are, like right now at least, are vector 3, C-frame, and enums. But I'll be using them in the coming tutorials, and you will see them being used, and then when you do it yourself, you'll know how to use them and you'll learn eventually. Speaking about the coming tutorials, right now I've only been doing the very basics. In the next tutorials I'm going to be doing things where it's more, you have to do it yourself to learn it, printing and variables and data types, you can learn that by just watching a video. But in the next tutorial, where I go over things like if statements, you're going to have to open Studio yourself and experiment to see how they work properly. So in the coming tutorials, just make sure when you're watching the video, you have YouTube open, you have a script open, and you just if I write an if statement in the studio, write it in the script and start experimenting. Like if I do if 5 equals 5, for example, start experimenting, I can't speak today. Start experimenting with it so that you can learn better. So like change the values in it or add stuff in this piece. You know, just experiment, and that's the best way to learn how to code. To be honest, you're never going to be able to learn properly by just watching videos. You have to experiment and try it yourself. Like I said in all the previous videos, if you enjoyed the tutorial, then leave a like. And if you have any suggestions for other tutorials that you want me to do, or other things that you want me to show you how to make, such as Jailbreak's robbing system, or a sword, or a bow, anything that you can think of, leave it in the comments and I'll try to get back to you and, you know, make a tutorial on it so I can help you guys out. But besides that, that's the end of the tutorial. In the next tutorial, we're going to be going over if statements, so I'll see you next time.